On September 12th, Bellevue accomplished something extraordinary. We shut down our main oxygen supply, the lifeline that supports every ICU patient, every surgical procedure, and every emergency. It was a bold move. Why take such a risk? Because our oxygen system is over 60 years old. To ensure our patients' safety, modernization was no longer an option. It was a necessity. When the moment came, our teams executed with flawless precision, with one mission in mind: to protect our patients. This is the story of how we made it happen.
As the nation's oldest public hospital, some of our infrastructure has been serving patients for decades. One of the key valves in our oxygen system, a riser valve which helps control the oxygen flow between the floors, had developed a leak. And to safely repair it, we had to shut off the oxygen to every patient on every floor. The only time our main valve had ever been closed before was during Hurricane Sandy. It was a huge challenge, but also an opportunity to fix the issue.
Our mission was simple but daunting: make sure that every patient kept breathing safely and that those requiring oxygen startup after the shutdown had begun would receive oxygen in a safe and routine manner. We calculated hospital-wide oxygen use, staged more than 100 large oxygen cylinders, 22 liquid systems, and nearly 400 small digital portable tanks. Our plan included enough oxygen for the current patient and up to 12 hours, and an additional 30% surplus for safety. Importantly, the medical gas vendor was on standby in the event that we should need an emergency delivery. We positioned appropriate oxygen system floor by floor, room by room, and ready for connection when needed. Beyond equipment, nursing leadership stayed fully informed through huddles and updates. Educational material and clear step-by-step instructions went out to every unit. Our respiratory therapists worked closely with nurses and ancillary staff. The goal was clear: when the switch was flipped, patient would not feel a difference.
In emergency management, our job was to coordinate all the moving parts in our response and keep everyone informed. We activated both a physical and virtual command center, so leaders across the hospital had a common operating picture. We took every step we could to double-check that all the work was done safely for both our patients and our staff. We also relied on our desktop notification system. Every staff member saw real-time message updates right on their screens. No confusion, no rumors, just clear information.
In the hours leading up to the shutdown, our teams walked the floors, double-checked each room, and confirmed that oxygen backups were in place at every bedside. We reviewed patient lists carefully so nothing was missed. We didn't give the green light to shut the system down until we were absolutely certain that every patient on every floor was safe.
When the oxygen shutdown occurred, every patient was already on a portable oxygen system. Even a 16-hour surgical procedure continued without interruption. Care never stopped.
Tense moment was watching the pressure drop to zero, but once it held, my team cut in the rest of the valves and finished in under 3 hours.
While the system was down, we took the opportunity to add 14 new isolation valves throughout the hospital. That means if a valve ever fails again, we can isolate one section instead of shutting down the entire building. It's a huge improvement in safety and reliability. When we take on a challenge, we don't just solve it for today. We built resilience into the system for the next generation of patients.
This was one of the most intense nights of my career, but also one of the proudest. I saw a respiratory therapist, nurse, engineers, and senior leadership working side by side in absolute focus. Every person knew their role and carried it out with confidence. When challenges came up, colleagues stepped up, supported one another. That is the kind of teamwork that makes Bellevue so special. It is a culture where people support and trust each other, communicate clearly, and patients are placed first. That is the spirit that allowed us to be successful.
From Ebola to COVID-19, Bellevue has always cared for New York during its hardest moments. This project showed that same spirit: determination, discipline, and a commitment to protecting every patient under our care. It also showed how strong Bellevue can be when every department pulls in the same direction. I want to thank my own team and all the other teams who stood shoulder to shoulder that night. The scale of the challenge could have divided us, but instead, it brought us together. The planning, the execution, and the trust across teams was truly remarkable.
This proves that Bellevue doesn't just respond to crises. We have nearly 300 years of history and a hospital culture that shows how we take on the hardest jobs and complete them safely.